Believe me, as our planet heats up, so will maps like this.
It's almost prophetic. I said that 2 years ago, and now look at this heat wave comparatively. This is a huge swath of extreme possible health risk temperatures, wet bulb globe temperature specifically, which I'll explain in a minute. But look at this gray extreme risk area is like over most of the Midwest. It's going to be over Southeast Michigan where I am until I think Thursday is when it's forecast to finally start to cool down, or maybe Friday. And I know some of these temperatures don't really look scary, right? You have like 81 over here, 83 degrees, even 88 in this danger zone. I think there's one over here. It doesn't look that bad, but this is wet bulb globe temperature, not just temperature Fahrenheit. Now, this temperature is much more realistic and much more indicative of how our bodies respond to not only the air temperature, but also the sunlight exposure, the airflow, like the wind, and the rate that our bodies can cool by evaporation from our sweat naturally. This accounts for all of that. The way that you actually get this wet bulb globe temperature is pretty interesting. So you need 3 different thermometers for it, and you put them in different setups to measure the ways that different things affect our body's abilities to cool itself. First off, you need the plain old air temperature, and to do that, you take what they would call a dry bulb temperature, which bulb just means thermometer bulb. So anytime you've seen that, just think a thermometer, okay? That's dry, meaning it's not wet. Wow, crazy. It's thermosy, is just hanging out in the air, taking the air temperature. It's so boring and so simple, but so necessary. Okay, now past that, we want to actually think about our bodies. And to do that, let's think about the way that we cool ourselves, which is by sweating. And when we sweat, our bodies move water and moisture to the skin on the outside, and then we hope that evaporation carries that moisture away, which will carry heat away with it. That's how we cool down, is by water carrying away our heat from inside. So taking a thermometer and sticking it in like a damp cloth or having a water barrier between it and the air will pretty much simulate the way that evaporation would cool our bodies in these conditions. Now, if you put it outside in the sun, you're going to get the sun's heating impact. You're going to have the air and the way that wind will assist with evaporation, and you're going to have humidity affect the ability for the air around it to actually hold and carry that water away. If there's too much humidity, our sweat and our body's abilities to cool itself actually stops working. So that's really dangerous, and is why when the humidity is accounted for in a temperature and it's really high, that's really dangerous. But it's not quite perfect, so we need something else, which is this globe temperature, which is where you take a black globe and put a thermometer inside it. Now that's going to take a much more accurate reading of the sun's ability to heat something up by it being in there, and then also account for the wind's ability to take away some of that heat, much like our skin is exposed to the air, and wind would cool you off if you like do that. Yeah. If you account for all of those things and you treat wet bulb temperature as the most important one, as you can see by you take 10% of the dry bulb, 70% of the wet bulb, and then 20% of the globe temperature. Combine those all together, you get the wet bulb globe temperature, which reads out a number that you hope is not like in the upper 80s to 90s, because that is like the extreme danger zone. And that's what it's going to be like for the Midwest in this heat wave. So that's wonderful. Like I said in the video 2 years ago, if you're in that red or gray region, be careful and cautious, drink lots of water, and take breaks if you have to be in the sun in the afternoon when it's gonna be peak heat time. It's not like you'll die if you go outside, and I'm sure some of you in your comments will say, well, I'm from Florida, so I'm used to 400 degrees ovens for 45 minutes until I'm well done. Good for you. I'm happy for you. That's wonderful, but I live in Michigan, and I burn in the sun, so I'm gonna be cautious and not die. That's my goal. No heat stroke. Don't forget to follow. Hi, chat. I'm Matt, by the way. Yeah.